You know that moment when someone asks, "How's the weather?" and your soul literally tries to escape your body? When forced small talk feels like psychological torture while everyone else is having the time of their lives, discussing absolutely nothing. Yeah, you're not rude. You're not antisocial. Your brain is just wired completely differently, and science has some fascinating explanations for why shallow conversations feel like death by 1,000 cuts. Picture this. You're at a networking event. Someone walks up and says, "So, what do you do for fun?" And immediately, your brain starts screaming. Not because you hate people, but because your neural pathways are literally rebelling against this meaningless exchange of pleasantries that leads absolutely nowhere. Here's what's really happening in that beautiful, complicated mind of yours. While everyone else's brain is perfectly content with surface-level chatter, yours is constantly searching for substance, meaning, depth. Psychologists call this need for cognitive complexity. Your brain doesn't just want information. It wants information that matters, that connects, that reveals something real about the human experience. But here's where it gets really interesting. Research from Harvard shows that people who hate small talk actually have hyperactive pattern recognition systems. When someone starts talking about the weather, your brain immediately calculates. This conversation has zero potential for meaningful exchange. It's like your neural network has a built-in BS detector that's working overtime. Number 1, your brain is literally allergic to superficial information. Most people's brains have what scientists call cognitive filters. They can engage in meaningless chatter without their internal systems revolting. But your brain? It treats small talk like spam email. Every "nice weather today" gets immediately flagged as useless data that's taking up valuable processing power. Neuroscientists at Cambridge discovered that people who prefer deep conversations show significantly higher activity in their brain's executive function centers. Translation: while everyone else is on autopilot, your brain is actively analyzing, evaluating, and rejecting shallow content as a waste of neural resources. It's not that you can't do small talk. It's that your brain experiences it like trying to solve complex equations while someone plays elevator music at maximum volume. The cognitive dissonance is real, and it's exhausting. Your prefrontal cortex, the part responsible for higher-order thinking, literally goes into overdrive trying to find meaning in meaningless exchanges. Think about it this way. Imagine you're a master chef being asked to serve McDonald's hamburgers at a 5-star restaurant. That's what small talk feels like to your brain. You're capable of rich, nuanced, intellectually stimulating conversation, and society keeps asking you to discuss parking and weekend plans. Number 2, you're not antisocial, you're anti-superficial. Let's clear this up once and for all. You don't hate people, you hate the performance. Small talk is essentially social theater, where everyone pretends that discussing nothing is somehow valuable human interaction. Your brain sees through this immediately. While others are exchanging pleasantries, you're unconsciously analyzing. This person isn't sharing anything real. They're not curious about anything meaningful. And this entire exchange could be replaced by a chatbot without anyone noticing the difference. Studies show that people who dislike small talk score significantly higher on measures of authenticity and emotional intelligence. You're not missing social cues. You're reading them too well. You can sense when conversations lack genuine human connection, and your system rejects it as unsatisfying. You'd rather sit in comfortable silence than engage in uncomfortable superficiality. And honestly, that's not a character flaw. That's emotional sophistication. Your brain has developed what researchers call conversational standards. Just like you wouldn't eat expired food, you won't engage in expired conversations that offer no nutritional value for your mind. Here's something fascinating. People who hate small talk often report feeling more lonely in crowds than when they're actually alone. That's because superficial social interaction can be more isolating than solitude. At least when you're alone, you're not pretending that meaningless words constitute human connection. Number 3, your dopamine system said no thanks to social pleasantries. Here's where your brain chemistry gets fascinating. When extroverts engage in small talk, their brains release dopamine. They genuinely enjoy these exchanges. Your brain? Cricket sounds. Instead, your reward system activates during deep, meaningful conversations. When someone shares something real, vulnerable, or intellectually stimulating, that's when your neurotransmitters throw a party. You're not broken, you're just calibrated for substance over style. Research from Yale shows that people who prefer deep conversations have different baseline levels of neurotransmitters. Your brain literally gets its high from different sources. While others are energized by chatting about weekend plans, you're energized by discussions about life philosophy, personal struggles, creative ideas, or anything that reveals the complexity of human experience. But here's what's really wild. Your brain doesn't just prefer meaningful conversation, it physically craves it. Neuroscientists using fMRI scans found that people with small talk aversion show increased activity in the anterior cingulate cortex when forced into superficial conversations. That's the same brain region that lights up during physical pain. Your brain is literally treating meaningless chatter as a form of social injury, and there's an evolutionary explanation for this. Throughout human history, the people who could detect authentic communication versus deceptive or meaningless communication were more likely to form genuine alliances, identify trustworthy partners, and avoid social manipulation. Your small talk detector isn't a bug. It's a feature that helped humans survive. Number 4, you're basically a conversational quality inspector. Ever notice how you can immediately tell when someone is genuinely interested versus just being polite? That's because your brain has what psychologists call enhanced social cognition. You don't just hear words, you analyze intention, authenticity, and emotional depth simultaneously. When someone asks, "How are you?" your brain immediately knows whether they want a real answer or just expect, "Fine, thanks." This hyper-awareness makes small talk feel like participating in a social lie that everyone agrees to pretend is meaningful. You're not overthinking. You're accurately reading the subtext of every interaction, and when that subtext is, "Let's exchange meaningless words to fill awkward silence," your brain rebels. Your neural pathways are constantly scanning for authentic human connection, and when they don't find it, they shut down the reward systems that would make the conversation enjoyable. This is why you can talk for hours with someone who shares your depth preference, but 5 minutes of weather discussion leaves you feeling drained. It's not about the topic, it's about the level of genuine engagement and authentic exchange happening beneath the surface. Studies from Stanford show that people who hate small talk have what researchers call high conversational investment needs. They don't just want to exchange words, they want to exchange ideas, emotions, perspectives, experiences that matter. Their brains are wired to seek conversations that change both participants somehow. Number 5, your social battery runs on premium fuel. While most people can sustain themselves on conversational junk food, your social energy system requires premium content. 5 minutes of genuine connection refuels you more than 2 hours of surface-level chit-chat. This isn't antisocial behavior. This is energy management. Your brain has calculated that meaningful conversations provide exponentially more value than their shallow counterparts, so it conserves resources accordingly. Studies show that people who hate small talk often have what researchers call selective social engagement. They're not socially avoidant, they're socially strategic. They invest their emotional energy where it has the highest return on human connection. Think of it like this. You have a finite amount of social energy to spend each day. Most people distribute that energy across dozens of superficial interactions. Your brain has evolved a different strategy. Invest deeply in fewer, higher quality exchanges. It's not antisocial, it's optimized social behavior. Research from the University of Pennsylvania found that people with small talk aversion often score higher on measures of what psychologists call social efficiency. They can form deeper bonds faster, maintain more meaningful relationships long-term, and experience greater satisfaction from their social connections. But here's the catch. Society is built around small talk. Elevators, waiting rooms, office break rooms, social events. You're constantly being asked to engage in the exact type of interaction that drains your battery while providing minimal reward. No wonder you feel exhausted after most social situations. Number 6, you're wired for depth in a world obsessed with breadth. Society celebrates people who can talk to anyone about anything, but there's something quietly revolutionary about people who refuse to engage in conversations that go nowhere. You understand something profound. Time is finite. Authentic connection is rare, And every minute spent on meaningless chatter is a minute not spent on something that actually matters. Your brain isn't being difficult, it's being efficient. Psychologists call this conversational intentionality. While others drift through social interactions on autopilot, you approach conversations with purpose. You want to understand people, share ideas, explore perspectives, or learn something new. And when a conversation doesn't offer these possibilities, your brain categorizes it as a waste of resources. But here's what makes this really interesting. You're not just avoiding shallow conversations, you're actively seeking deep ones. Your brain has developed what researchers call meaning-making conversational patterns. You ask questions that reveal character, share stories that illustrate values, and guide discussions toward topics that matter to you both. This isn't accidental. Your neural pathways have literally reorganized themselves around the pursuit of meaningful human exchange. While others have developed social skills optimized for broad, shallow networking, you've developed social skills optimized for narrow, deep connection. Number 7, you're a living authenticity detector. Here's something that might explain a lot about your social experiences. People who hate small talk often possess what psychologists call authenticity radar. You can sense when someone is being genuine versus performing a social role, and this awareness shapes every interaction. When someone launches into weather discussion, your brain doesn't just hear the words, it analyzes the underlying motivations. Are they genuinely interested in atmospheric conditions, trying to fill awkward silence, performing expected social behaviors, or avoiding more meaningful topics? And when the answer is anything other than genuine interest, your system flags the interaction as inauthentic. This is why you might find yourself more comfortable with socially awkward but genuine people than smooth talkers who excel at conventional social skills. Your brain prioritizes authentic intention over polished presentation. Number 8, your brain is playing a different social game entirely. While most people engage in what sociologists call phatic communication, language designed to establish social bonds rather than exchange information, your brain is constantly seeking semantic communication, language designed to actually convey meaningful content. When someone says, "How about this weather?" they're not seeking meteorological information. They're performing a social ritual that says, "I acknowledge your presence and would like to establish a basic friendly connection." Your brain understands this intellectually, but rejects it emotionally because it's fundamentally inauthentic to how you process human connection. You'd rather establish that same friendly connection through genuine curiosity about their thoughts, experiences, or perspectives. Your social bonding requires actual substance, not just shared participation in meaningless verbal exchanges. So here's what this all means. If you'd rather have one honest conversation than attend 10 networking events, if you feel physically uncomfortable when forced to discuss nothing, if you find small talk more exhausting than actual work, you're not socially defective. You're just calibrated for quality over quantity, depth over surface, meaning over noise. Your brain is designed for rich, complex human interaction, and it refuses to settle for anything less. The next time someone says you're too serious or not good at socializing, remember this. They're measuring social skill by one very specific standard. But there are different types of social intelligence, and yours might just be the kind the world needs more of. In a culture of surface-level connection and performed friendliness, you're seeking something rare and valuable, genuine human understanding. That's not a social deficit, that's social evolution. So tell me, are you team, "Let's discuss the meaning of existence," or team, "Nice weather we're having"? Drop it in the comments. Let's find our people.